Yahweh, Abba, Sovereign King, Elohim, El Shaddai, thank you so much for allowing us to gather another day in your presence, in your Shabbat day, your set apart day, Kadosh, for the specific purpose of being able to have intimate time with you, Father, and grow in our relationship with you, and to be able to rest and receive restoration. Thank you for allowing us to gather one more day to receive what you have for us today, the abundance of nutrients, rich meal that you have prepared for us today, so we can consume it, be nourished, grow into the image and likeness of you, Father, and be able to walk in abundance in life and an abundance of life. We thank you so much. We ask you, Father, to speak through every single one of us today. We ask you to be you speaking through me today as we are listening to what you have for us. May you also receive the word inside of us so it can be planted, it can be rooted, and it can grow and be established in our lives so we can walk it out and be able to live out the truth that we receive every single day from you, Father. May you be esteemed in the things that we shared today, and may any falsehood, deception, any kind of crookedness that might be established as a belief in our life, anything that we may have considered in the past as truth, may you restore everything into the order and the truth that you truly establish, and remove any falsehood from our life, from our mind, so we don't walk in falsehood anymore. May you be established always. May your truth be what is real in our lives. And we pray and ask these things in the name of Yahushua. So shall it be. Well, thank you guys for being here. We're gathering another day to hear what Yahweh has for us, and may all of you be nourished and be able to receive the truth that he has for us today. In the last few weeks, Yahweh has been teaching us deep, challenging, and undeniable revelation about Chokmah, Binah, and Da'at, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Today, we are going to look at the creative process of the one who is Chokmah, Binah, and Da'at, Yahweh. We're going to look at the creative process of Yahweh himself, the one who is wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. And this message, just like every other message, is crucial for us to grasp. We need to pick up what Yahweh is putting down on the table for us to consume today. I want to warn all of you guys and encourage you guys to not, for you guys to not be lazy. Do not be lazy. Be attentive, diligent, intentional, and don't expect for me or for anyone to bring the food to your mouth, to chew the food for you. That's your job to do. Do your part in the process of what Yahweh is teaching us. With that in mind, let's go to the book of Mishlei, chapter 19. Mishlei, chapter 19, verse 24. Mishlei 19:24 says, "A lazy one buries his hand in the dish and does not even bring it back to his mouth." Do not be that person. Yahweh is putting down so much food for us to eat. Let's grab the food and put it in our mouth. Let's chew on it, and let's do our part in this process, okay? And now that we are in Mishlei, let's go to Mishlei 24. Mishlei 24. And we're going to read verses 3 to 4. Mishlei 24, verses 3 to 4 says, "By wisdom, Chokmah, right? By wisdom, a house is built. And by understanding, Binah, it is established. And by knowledge, Da'at, The rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. And this is a passage that most of you have read, and I hope all of you have read this passage at some point in your life. But for sure, all of you guys have heard this passage, because I have referenced this passage in multiple occasions in the past. And these two verses provide insight into another passage that beautifully reveals the same order and function of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. And it's also in the book of Mishlei. It's in chapter 3. Let's go to Mishlei chapter 3. Mishlei chapter 3, we're going to read verses 19 to 20. So here's the creative process of Yahweh. Mishlei 3, 19 to 20. It says, Yahweh founded the earth by wisdom. He established the heavens by understanding. By his knowledge, the depths were broken up and the clouds dropped down too. So if we compare the two passages, we can easily come to the conclusion that they reflect the same order. So Mishlei 24, verses 3 to 4 says, by wisdom a house is built. Mishlei 3, 19 to 20 says, Yahweh founded the earth by wisdom. Chapter 24 says, and by understanding it is established. Chapter 3 says, he established the heaven by understanding. Chapter 24 says, and by knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. And chapter 3 says, by his knowledge the depths were broken up and clouds dropped down dew. It is clear that these two separate passages, they testify of the same pattern. And they are clear examples of the order and the purpose of Chokmah, Binah, and Da'at. Could any of you say that this is just a coincidence? Could any of you be able to deny the truth that is embedded within those two passages? So Yahweh, who is outside and is unruled by time, space, and matter, right? He's outside of it. He's not ruled by time, space, and matter. He speaks his word and he acts according to his word. His word proceeds from his perfection. And therefore, one, his words are perfect. And another thing, his actions remain in perfect alignment with the principles and order he established. By that, he demonstrates the trustworthiness and perfection of his word. This is not a coincidence. This is consistency. The same order by which Yahweh established creation is the same order by which a house is built and filled. So wisdom initiates the creation. It is the purpose and will of Yahweh that move him to create. This reveals that Yahweh created everything because he desired it. It was his will and desire to create everything for him, by him, and through him. And his intention of creating everything, like I mentioned many times in the past, was followed by disruption. We have mentioned this many, many times. His intentions to create something, create everything that he created, was followed by disruption. The word says in Bereshit chapter 1, verse 2, that the earth became formless and empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep. So disruption follows his intention. Nevertheless, Yahweh, being perfect, was not distracted by the disruption, which shows the consistency of Yahweh from the beginning. It shows that he, all the way from the beginning, he completes what he starts. Just like he said, he's the perfecter, and he's the one who completes our emunah. And That characteristic of accomplishing what you start, like finishing up what you started, just like he did, not being distracted by disruption. That characteristic of Yahweh, many are not able to portray today. Most people, once they experience opposition or once they experience disruption in their life, they crumble down and they are incapable of moving forward without allowing those things to stop them. Not a lot of people are able to move forward in life once disruption or opposition shows up. A lot of people are not able to continue without allowing those things to stop them or to turn them away from the original purpose they had. They quickly want to follow something else. And they quickly think like, oh, this is not for me. If it was for me, that it should have been easy. I should not experience anything hard if it's for me. If Yahweh opened the door, there should be no opposition at all. But that is why purpose from Yahweh is crucial in every situation in life. Because without purpose, what are you actually doing? If you don't have purpose from Yahweh, what are you actually following? You're just chasing fantasies if you don't have purpose from him. Because if it's not from him, whatever you create in your mind is just fantasies. Then understanding comes to play a very beautiful and crucial role. So understanding establishes the structure, the system, the process. It is the pillars used to establish the design, right? And why do I emphasize in the crucial role of understanding in the creative process, right? We need to understand that understanding is what helps us to discern between what is good versus bad, what is righteous versus unrighteous, what is life versus death, what is light versus darkness, what is right versus wrong, what is truth versus deception, and so much more. But how do we discern? We need to discern the same way Yahweh shows us in his creative process, by separating and dividing one thing from another to create order. We mentioned this in the past, and many people are still not able to grasp it. By separating and dividing one thing from another to create order. And pay attention, I said to create order, not to create balance. I don't care for balance. You should not care for balance. You do not need balance. We don't need balance. We should want and desire order. Balance is keeping things in the right proportion, so nothing becomes too much or too little. Like, is that what you actually want in your life? Balance? You want things to be in the right proportion so nothing becomes too much or too little? Like, I hear so many people from Yahweh saying that they live a balanced life or that they want to live a balanced life. For what? Do you want to have the right balance of good and evil in your life? That means that you should have not too much good in your life so the evil is not overwhelmed or surpassed by good. That's balance. Do you want balance in your relationship with your spouse? That means that you have enough good times, but not too many good times, so the bad times are not left out. Do you want balance in your finances? That means that you cannot live in abundance and freedom, because then the scarcity and bondage aspect of finances gets left behind. What we need is order. And that is determined by Yahweh's truth, not by your own desires, not by the world determination or definitions of things. It's by Yahweh alone. Why would you want balance when Yahweh created everything? He created order. And Yahweh created order by separating everything. And everything he created, he saw that it was good. He didn't say, let me leave some things a little bit crooked so there is balance in my creation. He just saw that it was good. Everything he created was good. If he wanted balance, he would have left few things a little messed up just so there can be a little bit of balance. And good doesn't overwhelm evil, right? He separated the light from the darkness, the day from the night, the evening from the morning, the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse. He separated the heavens from the earth. He separated the sea from the dry land. All of that was separation to create order. And up to that point of the separation process, what he was doing was establishing the systems, the methods, and the platforms he was going to use to fulfill his desire. That's the understanding. So why do I say that what he was doing up to this point was establishing the system and the platforms? Because if he would have stopped at this point of the separation of the light from the darkness, the sea from the dry land, the waters above the expanse from the water under the expanse, if he would have stopped at this point, there would have been nothing that he could have meaningful connection with. So everything in creation proceeds from him. But what gives meaning to the sea is the life in the sea. What gives meaning to the land is the life that is on the land. Without all of that, Yahweh would have been able to interact only with things without emotions, without feelings, without character, without personalities, without desires, without necessities. It is like having an enterprise that provides the best products, the best services, but there are no clients to provide such services and products to. And here is where the knowledge shines the most. So the knowledge, the Da'at, brings depth, details, fruitfulness, and everything comes together in harmony, right? So knowledge is like the bridge that unites the vision or the purpose with the physical realm in action. And knowledge is the bridge that unites the vision or the purpose with the physical realm in action. And at this point is when Yahweh put the system that he created, the platforms that he created to work. And again, the systems and the platforms, this is a vocabulary that I'm using to describe the creation, right? What he created, like separation between light and darkness, all of these things. He told the systems or the platforms that he created to work, right? So he told the system that he called Earth, he told that system to bring forth grass. He told that system to bring forth plants that yield seed, and the fruit trees that yield fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself. And he says that the earth did exactly as Yahweh commanded. So Yahweh saw that it was good. So for something to be considered good in Yahweh's eyes, it has to be what he desired it to be. And he has to do exactly what he intended that thing to do, what he designed it to do. Then he used another of the system that he created that he called light, right? And he commanded it to create the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night and the stars. And he told them to be for signs and moedim and for days, and for years, and for light in the expanse, to give light to the earth, and to separate the light from the darkness. And the scripture says, and it all came to be as he commanded it. So he saw that it was good. So I hope that you guys are able to see the principles at work here. Then he spoke to another system that he created, and he called waters. And he told the waters to bring forth living creatures of the water and the birds of the earth. And he saw that it was good. Now, he didn't only create the animals, he also blessed the animals. He gave them the power to be able to accomplish what they were called to do. He commanded them to be fruitful, and he commanded them to increase in the sea and the birds to increase in the earth. And that is a more intimate relationship between him and the animals. And then he spoke again to the system that he called earth, and he commanded the earth to bring forth living being according to its kind. The livestock, the creeping creatures, the beasts of the earth, all of them were created according to their kind. When he spoke to the earth, the system that he established. And then Yahweh saw that it was good. And these animals are not things. They are not objects. They are living beings, right, of the earth. And that is a deeper relationship than what he has with the systems that he established. So at this point, he has the creation, which are what I've been referring to as the system or the platforms. And then he has the creatures, which are the animals. Then he created mankind. He created mankind in his image and likeness. So in the image and likeness of the creator, mankind was created. So he has creation, he has creatures, and he had creators. And that is a way more personal relationship. And not only that, but he blessed mankind. And he commanded mankind to be fruitful, to multiply, to fill the earth, to subdue it, and to rule over the fish of the sea, the birds of the earth, and over the creeping creature of the earth. Then he said that he has given us every plant that yields seeds on earth, and every tree whose fruits yield seed for us to eat is the food for us. And not only that, but he also tells us what he made for food for the animals as well. So he's giving us his creation, he's giving us his creatures for us to steward over it. He's entrusting us with the work of his hand. That is the level of relationship Yahweh desired with us, with his people. And that is exactly what is mentioned in the book of Tehillim. If we go to Tehillim chapter 8, we're going to see exactly what I've been just describing here. Tehillim chapter 8. Tehillim chapter 8, verses 4 to 9. And it says, "What is man that you remember him? And the Son of Man that you visit him? Yet you have made him a little less than Elohim, and have crowned him with esteem and splendor. You made him rule over the works of your hands. You have put all under his feet, all sheep and oxen, and also the beasts of the field, the birds of the heavens, and the fish of the sea, passing through the paths of the seas. O Yahweh, our sovereign, how excellent is your name in all the earth." So there you guys have it. From wisdom to understanding and to knowledge. From purpose to establishing to fulfillment. So if you desire to become more and do more and have more, that is the way to do it. When we create something like an enterprise, a plan, a vision, we should follow the same process of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. We are made in the image and likeness of Yahweh. So if we want to become more into the image and likeness of him, we should reflect this pattern in the way that we live our life. When we are walking in Yahweh's Ruach and in covenant, our creativity, the enterprise building and planning can actually flow and follow that same pattern. So the Chokmah portion, right, is when we receive purpose. And that purpose is inspired by the fear of Yahweh, which is what enables us to act rightly. It's what helps us to walk and act exactly how he desires us to walk, is that fear of him. Then Binah, the understanding, right, is where we form the structure, is the enterprise model, is the roles, the systems, the platforms we're going to use. So we build the vessel that will carry the vision. It's what Yahweh did. He built the vessel that will carry his vision. The heavens, the earth, the waters, the sun, the light, all of these things. That's what carries his vision. And we are here to fulfill that vision, which is the Da'at portion. We apply everything we receive. It's the work, it's fruitfulness. It's what is what allows the people to interact and see and experience everything. So in covenant, we can and we should walk and build as Yahweh built. The more we walk in the spirit, the more we can be the accurate image bearers of Yahweh here on earth. The more we walk in the spirit. We don't have to build like the world builds. They build like blind people. But if you don't walk in the spirit and you don't live by the spirit and you live by the flesh instead, you will do everything backwards. When you build without waiting for Yahweh, what you do first is that you just gather information. You gather data, which is what the world calls knowledge. Then you try to analyze and plan, and you try and try and try, right? And that's what they call, the world calls understanding. And then you act and apply everything that you learn and hope that you learn something, which is what the world calls wisdom. But this is backward. And what happened is that the results of all of that is usually heavy on information, but it's not spirit-led. It's not spirit-led field either. The businesses can be functional, but they have no purpose. Or the purpose that they have are completely outside of Yahweh's purpose for his overall plan. So you end up with strategies that are not in alignment to Yahweh's kingdom. But again, when we are led by Yahweh's Ruach, the order is reversed to what the world determines. We receive wisdom, right? We receive chokmah from Yahweh, not from ourselves like the world. And remember, wisdom is not information. It is the original spark in us of righteous purpose that is breathed to us by Yahweh himself. Is breathed in within us by him, by his power, by his Ruach. It is the vision of what should exist, what he desires us to accomplish, what he wants to move from the heaven, from the Shemaim, from the spiritual realm to the earth, right? For his kingdom to be established on earth. And it is in alignment with his kingdom, with his heart, and with his truth. If it doesn't align with his kingdom, his heart, his truth, it's not from him. So wisdom births clarity before we can even see the strategy. And how does this look like in enterprises, or how does it look like in leadership? We need to ask how or why did we even started to think about the things that we are doing? Or where does the plan come from? Does it come from only because we have been immersed in the world and being immersed and consumed by social media? Or does it come from our relationship with Yahweh? Yahweh can use social media to show us what he wants us to do and to help us to understand certain things. He could, of course. But is it, have you been in relationship with him? Or are you just outside of him completely, just being consumed by the world? Ask, does this idea bring esteem to Yahweh? Does the idea that I have actually honors Yahweh's character? Does it honor Yahweh's order? Does it actually serve people in the way that is pleasing to Yahweh? Or does it only serve me? Does it make me grow and me alone? Is it selfish desires that I'm following? Or does this actually points to Yahweh and serve people the greatest way that I can? And if the answers are not clear, wait on Yahweh in prayer, fasting, and in his word. Do not look for the answers on social media. If the answer is not clear, pray to Yahweh. If the answer is not clear, don't jump into conclusions. Wait for the seed to be planted from Yahweh himself. That is wisdom. Then you receive understanding. Here is where you start to separate and distinguish. You start to organize the insight into systems, patterns, frameworks, things like that. It is when the vision that Yahweh gave you is shaped into a working plan. Here is where you start discerning what belongs and what doesn't. And how does this look like in enterprises or in leadership? Here is where you establish the offers that you have in your enterprise. Here is where you establish the teams, the flow, the pricing, the messaging, the methods, the accounts, the policy, the websites, the enterprise models, the strategies, and so much more. In the understanding portion is where we, and when I say we, is us with Yahweh, right? We define what do we say yes to, what do we say no to, what are our core values, what are the non-negotiable principles of our company or of our enterprise or of our organization or of our gathering, our assembly, or of our lives. What are the non-negotiable principles of our family? What do we say yes and no as a family, as a person, as an individual? This is how we can walk through life following Yahweh's principle. Yahweh's principles are there for us to be able to have a framework where everything, if you do this, this will happen. If you do the opposite, this will happen. We don't walk through life as blind people. We know if we do certain things, the outcome should be this. When does the outcomes will come? That's not our time. That's not for us to determine the time. But if we do the right thing, we know the outcomes have to be good. Because if not, then Yahweh is a liar, and he's not a liar. And then we walk in knowledge. And that's where fruitfulness comes through. It's like the expression, the execution, is the applied wisdom. Is the opposite of what the world says. They said that wisdom is the applied knowledge. And in reality, it should be knowledge is the applied wisdom. The ad is not data or information. Is covenant knowledge in action, right? So is what I was mentioning earlier, is the integration of what we receive in wisdom and what has been discerned as understanding applied through obedience, experience, and stewardship. So knowledge is the manifestation and hopefully the fulfillment of the original vision that we had, the wisdom, what Yahweh put in our heart, the purpose that he has for us. And how does this look like in enterprises and in leadership? Here is when we put the system and the processes that we establish in the understanding process to work, just like Yahweh did. He told the earth, bring forth grass, fruit trees, animals. He told the sea, bring forth the animals of the sea, the birds of the earth, the earth. He told the light, create the greater light, the lesser light, the stars. He put the system to work, and he saw that it was good. So now we start to having results, and we need to track those results so we can see if they are good. So if they are not good, then what we do? We need to go to Yahweh, seek what we need to rearrange, what needs to be refined in the operation, because we need to see if the systems are good and call them good. And if they are not good, call them bad and work on it, refine it. And in this process of knowledge is when we teach others, and we multiply knowledge by delegation, and we multiply knowledge by teaching others, like we are doing here with you guys, and how you guys go out there in the world and teach others as you guys are interacting with the people in this world. And as you're living your life, people can see how you do things in life, that knowledge that you have, that you are putting into action, and is persuasive to people. And we set the path straight before us so people can walk after us and find Yahweh in that path. In this portion of knowledge is where we improve other people's life with our services and our products. In this process of knowledge is where we provide opportunities for others. But that only happens if we walk in alignment to Yahweh's will and Yahweh's purpose. So if you start with Yahweh's purpose and build or establish with a spiritual understanding and act through applied wisdom, which is knowledge, you do not become an entrepreneur like the world teaches of entrepreneurship. You do not become a leader like the world says. You do not become a business owner. You become a wise steward of Yahweh's kingdom and authority. And that's what we are here for. Without us becoming wise stewards of Yahweh's kingdom and Yahweh's authority over our lives, we cannot make his kingdom come. We cannot establish his kingdom here on earth as it is in the Shemaim. When we start with Yahweh's purpose and we build with his understanding and we act with applying wisdom, that is knowledge, we become the king or the queen of our assignment. If you want to be able to succeed in life, if you want to live a fulfilling life, and you want to build wealth, which is all the things that Yahweh actually desires for us to do. These are not selfish things. People can have selfish desire regarding these things, but this is what Yahweh desired for us. But a lot of people are so confused about what Yahweh desired for us to experience that they think that prosperity is evil. They think that fulfillment can be found elsewhere that is not by doing what we are called to do and becoming who we are supposed to be. And they think that wealth is just riches, money, which in reality, money is just a byproduct of wealth, but it's not wealth. Wealth is living in abundance in every single aspect of your life. But we can only get to that point if we truly follow Yahweh. Because the scripture said that he's the one who gives. In the beginning passages, in chapter 1, he says, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, rule over the fish, all of these things, and see, I give you all of the plants for you to eat. So he's the one who gives. So if you walk against him, how can you find any of these things, any prosperity, any fulfillment, any wealth? It's impossible. The scripture said that he's the one who gives. Anyways, I hope that this message was something that blesses you and help you to grow in his image and likeness. And if not, then you can always reach out to us and we can discuss whatever is not sitting well. But let's pray really quick so we can have fellowship afterwards. Yahweh, our sovereign King, thank you so much for the message that you have given us today, the truth that you have revealed to us. Help us to be able to receive it, nourish it, steward well over it, multiply it, share with others. We have freely received. We ask you, Father, to help us to freely give and help us as well to walk in alignment to what you desire for us in life. So that way your kingdom, your reign can be established on earth as it is in the Shemaim. And help us to do things not for selfish ambitions, but only to be able to bring your purpose and will to completion in life. We ask you, Father, to help us to speak life as we fellowship now, and may you and your truth be established in our conversations. In the name of Yahushua, we ask these things, so shall it be.